Rasulullah wa ba'd. The question is that somebody who leads people in prayer, but the person does soothsaying. The person does soothsaying, maybe with sand or using the palm and things like that. So this undoubtedly is shirk. The one who does such a thing is a mushrik. And the shirku is shirku akbar, not shirk asghar. Because the one who does the soothsaying is claiming the knowledge of the unseen. And this is the attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is alimul ghaybi, is the knower of the unseen. فَلَا يُظْهِرُ عَلَى غَيْبِهِ أَحَدًا. It does not make anybody to have the knowledge of the unseen. إِلَّا مَنِ ارْتَضَى مِنْ رَسُولٍ, except the one that is pleased with. And that person will be a messenger. إِلَّا مَنِ ارْتَضَى مِنْ رَسُولٍ فَإِنَّهُ يَسْلُكُ مِنْ بَيْنِ يَدَيْهِ وَمِنْ خَلْفِهِ رَصَدًا. كُلَّ يَعْلَمُ مَنْ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ الْغَيْبَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. Tell them that none has a knowledge of the unseen. Those that are on the earth and those who are in the heaven, they do not have knowledge of the unseen. إِلَّا اللَّهِ, except Allah. So the one who claims he has knowledge of the unseen, فَهُوَ مُشْرِكٌ كَافِرٌ. He has associated himself with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, elevated himself to the status of Allah subhanahu. So such a person, if it is confirmed, we don't pray behind him. We don't pray behind him. When you pray behind him, you are praying behind a mushrik. And the salah that you pray behind a mushrik is salatun batila. Is salatun batila. However, the one who consults that person, the one who goes to that person is a person, the person has what? Different rulings. One may consult him in order to expose him to the people, to ridicule him. So this one has his ruling. There is nothing wrong with this, to ridicule him. The one who is consulting him, but he believes, is consulting not to ridicule him, but when he tells him something, he doesn't believe in what he has told him. Such a person, his prayer will not be accepted for 40 days, as it is established in the Hadith in Sahih Muslim and some other books. But the one who believes him, does he believe in that he has a knowledge of the unseen? If he believes him that he has a knowledge of the unseen, he is also what? A kafir. He is also a kafir. So that hadith, Man ata arrafan fasalahu an shayin fasaddaqa bima yaqul faqad kafara bima nuzila ala Muhammadin, will be applicable to him. Whoever goes to a soothsayer and he asks him something and he believes in what he has said, he has disbelieved in what Allah has revealed of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But if he goes to him, he believes in what he tells him, not because he believes he has knowledge of the unseen, but Allah has enabled him. Allah has enabled him to have the knowledge of the unseen. So this, some scholars said, the same ruling that applies to the one who Allah will not accept his prayer for 40 days is applicable to him. How this is clear? Some scholars said what is applicable to the one that Allah will not accept his prayer for 40 days is applicable to him. He believes in what he has said, but he believes it's Allah that has enabled him to know, not that he has the knowledge of the unseen by himself. Some scholars they said, no. How are we going to know that his belief in him comes as a result of what says Allah that has enabled him. You cannot differentiate between the two. What we are going to do is to apply what Bismillah said. Man ata arafan, whoever goes to a soothsayer, fasalahu an shay'in, and he asks him something. Fasaddaqahu bima yaqul, he believes in what he said. He didn't say fasaddaqahu bima yaqul, that he believes in what he's saying. In kana yaqulu bi annahu min Allah, if he says it's from Allah, or in kana yaqulu bi annahu alima hadha bi nafsi. Rasulullah did not add those clauses that you are adding. So what Rasulullah says was faqad kafara bima nuzila ala Muhammadin. Now what has led scholars to say this is there is a report in Ustadh of Imam Ahmad that says man ata'arrafan fasaddaqahu fasa'alahu an shay'in fasaddaqahu bima yaqul la tuqbalu lahu salatu arba'ina, just like the one we have in Muslim. In fact, the shins are similar. So they now interpreted this fasa'alahu an shay'in fasaddaqahu bima yaqul la tuqbalu lahu salatu arba'ina layla to mean what? If he does not believe it, if he believes in him but he thinks that what is Allah that has given him the knowledge, not that the person has the knowledge by himself, in order to reconcile between the two hadith. But the other scholars, they say this hadith that said what was Alahu and Shayn for Sadaqah ibn Yaqul for La Tubal Salat Arba'ina, they say what is Shadh. The one that is common is what is the one that says Wasalahu and Shay, asks him something, Wasadaqu bima yaqul, and he believes in him, faqad kafara. This is the one that is what's common. But La tuqballu salatu arba'ina yawman, together with Wasadaqu bima yaqul, they said that is shadh. But the first set of scholars, they said no, we have to look at it, his belief, that is believing in what he has told him will come in two ways. He may believe that what he has a knowledge by himself. He may believe that what he has is Allah that has given him the knowledge. If he believes that he has a knowledge by himself, kafir bil ittifaq. If he believes that what is Allah that has given him the knowledge, his punishment is that Allah will not accept his prayer for 40 days. But the other scholar said that report that you want to rely on is riwayah shadha. Is riwayah shadha. Imam Ahmad has a position, and that position is what? Say it the way it is. Faqad kafara bima nuzila ala Muhammad. He has disbelieved in what has been revealed to Muhammad. Don't go into the details. Does he have this? If you say faqad kafara bima nuzila ala Muhammad, straight away it's clear. Don't go into details. Lam tuqballu salatu arba'ina yawman. If you are going to that one, he may say, okay, I can do it. It's only salah for 40 days that will not be accepted. So this may be a kind of what encouragement, and that's why the salah for solid they have a way of addressing things. When you see people that are wallowing in sins, they are wallowing in sins. If you see that, we tell them what verses of rahmah of Allah that Allah may forgive them, that is going to what encourage them to be committing the sin more. Don't narrate or quote those verses here. Quote the verses of what? Punishment. But when you see people who are what? Despairing from the mercy of Allah, you can use what? Bring what? The verses of mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that they will not lose hope. This is the way to balance the things. So you say things that will make people go away from sins that they are committing. Don't show them the area of forgiveness, because this may lead them to what? To commit. But those who are despairing, you show them the area of forgiveness so that they won't despair. So this is what a balanced position. Wallahu a'lam. No. Okay.
How does the community now use that kind of imam? That we have some parts that know that what imam is doing is wrong, and we have some elders that consult the same person, and these other people don't want fitna to come around about how they are doing that.
Well, the most important thing is that يا أيها الذين آمنوا عليكم أنفسكم لا يضركم من ضل إذا اهتديتم. Oh, you believe, take care of yourselves. Those that are misled, they don't harm you. as long as you are guided. So yours is to what? To tell the people. And if they insist they don't want accept from you, you don't pray behind them. Don't pray behind the man. The one who does soothsaying is what is the mushrik. So don't pray behind him. The fact that some people are consulting, they are doing this, they are doing that is none of our business. Ours is what to tell them this is what is wrong Islamic. And that's why it is important to take care of Tawheed. The most important thing to learn as far as Islam is concerned. When you say Islam, it is Aqidah. Al-Aqidah to Sahiha. When it comes to fiqh issues, there are some issues, so many issues that are controversial among the scholars. But issues of Aqidah, there is very, very little difference of opinion on it. Because this is what the Salaf, they have what unanimity on most things in it. And this is where you know Islam of somebody or what, or the otherwise of somebody. So you spread the Aqidah. Any malam that is teaching people and is not teaching them the Aqidah of the Prophet ﷺ and his companions with the evidences, for instance, such a person is not a preacher. So when you tell people, okay, the Muslims are suffering this and so we are doing this for the plight of the Muslims. Who are the Muslims? Take for instance somebody who is what? Who is doing soothsaying. The one practicing soothsaying. And we have some of the Jama'ah also consulting them. Are they Muslims? So if you want to fight for the right of the Muslims, are these people, are you fighting for the right of these people? You are fighting for the right of the Mushrikun, not the Muslimun. So if you want to fight for the right of the Muslims, you must be sure that you are fighting for the right of the Muslims. So and that's why the knowledge that you make the people be Muslim is the knowledge that what you should be spreading. The knowledge that will make people remain what? Muslims. Is knowledge that what? That is the most important knowledge to spread. But when you leave people committing shirk and you are teaching them how they can watch, how they can grow economically. If they grow economically, they end up in Jahannam. Have you benefited them? There is no difference between you and the Obama healthcare or whatever they are doing. Huh? You are providing for them, doing this, you have Muslim hospital, you have this, you have this, you have that. But at the end of the day, the people that you have fought for as Muslims, they end up in Jahannam. What is the benefit? So what should make them remain as Muslims? That knowledge must be spread, must be said. Then if in addition you are not looking for their welfare, then alhamdulillah, things are what? Have been complete. But you take care of the welfare, but the people are wallowing in shirk. Wallah, you have not assisted them. So when in a situation like that, you take care of yourself. If you tell them and they refuse, and they insist that no, they will not eat. Wallahu alam. Okay. No. Alaykum salam.
Now, the person of my always is telling why I get to him. I don't even have a week. I will show you an Egyptian man. So in the week they always do that. But the following day they have a kind of funny ending, which is not from him, but they have endings in the God. So they quickly, and it works. How do we distract the person?
Now somebody who threatens one that is going to show one, so he has not explained what he's going to show one. Maybe he's going to organize the area boys to beat one up, or he's going to do some incantation or some magic and sorcery or so. He hasn't explained. So one should not entertain fear. One should not entertain fear. Fine. That doesn't mean one should say that those people do not exist. The evil people exist. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let us know this. The one who says no, there are no evil people. Such a person does not understand Tawheed. He does not understand Aqidah. There are evil people. But Allah let us know, وَمَا أُبِضَارِّينَ بِمِنْ أَحَدٍ إِلَّا بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. They cannot harm anybody except with the permission of Allah. So if somebody succeeds in harming you with a charm, it's with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there is nobody that can lift that thing away from you except Allah himself. So you have to go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why you do adhkar so that what you can protect yourself from being armed. And after you have been armed, you also engage in what? In adhkar and ruqya in order to lift that what? That arm away. So the fact that you are doing adhkar doesn't mean what? You cannot be armed at all. Because at times you may fail in doing that thing, and that will be the avenue that person will use to harm you. But know that this is what the qadar of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that was why Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam said that I do not fear what you people associate with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I do not fear. I'm not afraid of what you associate with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But he let them know that if you do anything and it harms me, it's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is with the permission of Allah. It's not by your power. You are just what? You are the sabab. You are the sabab. You are just the means that thing gets to me. If Allah has not willed it, it will not have what? And so somebody threatens you, is going to show you, and maybe the following day one starts having headache or something evil happens to one. You shouldn't run to that person. You should run to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to take it away from one. Unless if it has to do with issue of ayn, maybe the person looks at you, and from that one is affected somehow. Inshallah, we are still going to talk about what has to do with evil eye. But somebody says, you see it, and something evil happens to one should call on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to take away the evil effects. Wallahu alam. Now I'm the one who hangs an amulet. Can we pray behind the person? Originally, you don't pray behind the sinful people. Sinful people. Now talk of somebody who's what? Doing shirk or asgar. Sinful people. Somebody is a drinker of alcohol, for instance, or is a fornicator or an adulterer. Originally, you don't pray behind. You look for good people to pray behind. But the question is, if you pray behind a fornicator or an adulterer or a drunkard, if you pray behind him, does the salah count? Is the salah valid? The salah is valid. I hope it is clear. Now we want to have somebody as our imam, okay? But the man drinks, it takes intoxicant. We can still make him imam. No, you can't make him imam. You can't make him imam. You make somebody who is pious and imam. But if you pray behind somebody who is what? Evil, who is ungodly, so to say, you pray behind, is the salah valid? As long as he does not commit shirk akbar, he's still a Muslim. So if you pray behind somebody who is still a Muslim, your salah is what? Is valid. So what I'm saying invariably is that what? It's not okay for you to be praying. It's not okay. It's not recommended that you pray behind somebody who is putting what? Tamima. Now is a person a kafir? We can't tell. Because we don't know whether he believes it is that Tamima that is what? That is protecting, or is Allah that is protecting him. We don't know. We have seen Tamima, yes. Originally, the one who hangs Tamima is what? Mushrik Shirkan Asgar. But that person may have believed in the Tamima to the extent that what? He believes it is the Tamima that is protecting, which is what? Shirku Akbar. So you can't really tell that person is Mushrik, Shirkan Asgar or Shirkan Akbar. So if you are not allowed or is not encouraged that you pray behind somebody who is a consumer of intoxicants or somebody who is a fornicator or an adulterer, what about somebody who is committing shirk asgar? But if you pray behind him, the salah is what is valid. But it's not something of piety for somebody who is a good Muslim that you want to pray, that you not prefer to pray behind somebody who is what? Who is a sinful person. When you have somebody who is what? Who is pious. that itself is what is halalun fit tawheed. Is a kind of what it has a negative mark on one's tawheed. So the Salafus Salih, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on them, when it comes to issues of what? Of the deen, they don't take it with levity. When they see somebody who is what? Who is displaying their what? Or displaying their bid'ah, they say what? Don't pray behind somebody who is what? Al-mu'lim bid'ata. The one who is displaying his bid'ah, don't pray behind him. And this is what bil ittifaq. All the madhab, they mention this. Because the issue of the deen is something that is very, very important. Now, when you pray behind such a person, do you have salah? You have salah. Unless if the bid'ah of that person is bid'ah mukaffira, the bid'ah that makes him a kafir, you now pray behind him, then you don't have salah. Al-Imam Ahmad rahimahullah ta'ala was asked a question. Can we pray behind somebody who is making his bid'ah known? He said this, and this is the position of Imam Malik. All the Aimma, this is what they said. So he was asked, he now said that if the person is a ruler, in the past, the ruler will be the Imam, and the ruler is somebody who is committing bid'ah mukaffira. Said in that case, pray behind him, but repeat your salah. Why pray behind him? In order to save yourself from what? From being what? From being tortured and punished. But why repeating your salah? Because you have prayed behind somebody who is not eligible to lead you. So Wallahu A'lam.
When does the Imam stop moving his finger when he's doing a shower? Is it when the Imam starts the sleep, or when the Imam finishes his own askar?
Now, as for when does the Ma'mum, the follower of the Imam, when does he stop or stop moving his finger? The movement of the finger while you are in Salah is something that is controversial. Something that scholars have what difference of opinion on. Some of the opinion that when you get to the place where the name of Allah is mentioned, then what? You move it. Some of the opinion that you move it when you get to the place of dua. When you get to the place of dua, when you are at the place of supplication, you move it. Because of the hadith, يُحَرِّكُهَا يَدْعُ بِهَا. يُحَرِّكُهَا, he was moving it, يَدْعُ بِهَا, supplicating with it. So this is the favorite opinion of Shaykh ibn Uthaymeen rahimahullah ta'ala. The first one, this is said by some of the madhahib. Another opinion is that you move it from inception to the end, from start to the end, because of the hadith yuharrikuha yad'u biha. Some interpreted that what yuharrikuha does not mean what you start from the place of dua. It means that yuharrikuha, you watch moving it from inception. So even to the extent of what yad'u biha, one is supplicating with it. But some scholars of the opinion that tahrikul isba', movement of the finger while in salah, has no evidence. Yuharrikuha yad'u biha, they said is what riwayah shadha, in that of all the reporters, the students who reported this hadith from a man called Asib ibn Kulayb, it is only one person out of them that included the word yuharrikuha yad'u biha. All of them, they said ashara biha. Ashara biha, they indicated with the finger. So all of them, they said ashara biha. Only one person said what? Yuharrikuha yad'u biha. And that's why they consider that lafzu to be what? Shadh. That lafzu is shadh, because it contradicted all other students who have reported from the same sheikh. Sheikh Al-Albani in Tamam al-Minna tried to reconcile this, that al-ishara la tunafi tahrik. When they say okay, ashara, it points, that doesn't mean what? It doesn't move. So if I do like this, what have I done? Ishara. What have I done again? I've also moved my finger. So he said what? Al-ishara la tunafi tahrik, in order to reconcile. So Wallahu Alam is a very simple issue. Whether you just leave it like this or you do like this, no harm. But the one that is incorrect is what some people do like this. So the hadith is not authentic. But whether you do like this or like this, so it's a controversial issue. Wallahu Alam. Now, when did he stop? Now, will he stop before you continue until what? You finish your own tashahud? And some of the opinion that what? You continue like that until the Imam makes taslim. But as I've said, it's a very simple issue. Wallahu Alam. Now, okay. There are some questions. The first question that I have here is kneeling or bowing or prostrating for somebody in order to greet the person. Is it something that Islam kicks against? Now, as for prostration, so this is what is not accepted at all. As for bowing, this, what most scholars have said is that what it is haram. Some scholars who said it is makruh, the kara that they are referring to is also equal to the kara of tahrim. Because when the scholars of fiqh they talk, there is what is called makruh kara tanzih and makruh kara tahrim. They may use the word makruh, but what they mean by it is haram. And we have evidence of that in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said what? وَكَرَّهَ إِلَيْكُمُ الْكُفْرَ وَالْفُسُوقَ وَالْإِسْيَانَ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes kufru makruh to you. Allah makes kufru makruh for you. Does that mean I can do kufru if I like? No. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has let us know that whoever does kufru will end up in what? In hellfire. So the kufr, the kara'a there is kara'a tahrim. Kullu dhalika kana sayyiruhu inda rabbika makruha. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after he has mentioned a lot of sins, he said all these things, they are what? Makruh before your Lord. They are evil deeds and they are makruh before what? Before your Lord. So the kara is kara tahrim in those two verses, not kara tanzih. So and that's why we shouldn't mix up. At times when some scholars they use the word makruh, they use it in order to refer to haram. But you don't want to use the word haram, so that they will not fall under the verse that وَلَا تَقُولُوا بِأَلْسِنَاتِكُمْ بَلْ وَلَا تَقُولُوا مَا تَصِفُ أَلْسِنَاتِكُمُ الْكَذِبَ هَذَا حَلَالٌ وَهَذَا حَرَامٌ. Don't say with your tongues that this is halal, this is haram. لِتَفْتَرُوا عَلَى اللَّهِ الْكَذِبِ, so that you fabricate lies on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَفْتَرُونَ عَلَى اللَّهِ الْكَذِبِ لَا يُفْلِحُونَ. Those who fabricate lies against Allah will never be successful. So they don't want to say this thing is haram. They prefer to use the word what? Makruh. Though what they mean is what is haram, but they are afraid to use the word what? Haram. So some of the scholars who have said what? Al-inhina li-shakhsin tahiyatan, to bow for somebody as a way of greeting, that they have said is what is makruh. They are referring to what? Kara tahrim. And those who have said it is haram, they mean what? It is haram. Now, some people will say, okay, since we do not see evidence that say it is haram, then that means it is what? Permissible. It is the culture of the people, then you can do it. Because there is no text that says it what? It is haram. Now what you do is that before you pass judgment on a particular thing, you have to look at what have the Salafus Salih have been saying on this thing. So the Salafus Salih, what they've been saying on it is that what they've been condemning it. None of them has said, oh, it is what? Jaiz. Even if you say makruh is something that is detested. It's not something that what you are encouraged to do. When they say this thing is makruh, does it mean what? I'm encouraged to do it or I'm discouraged to do it? I'm discouraged to do it. So if you take it to mean karat tanzih, not karat tahrim. Now we'll talk of what the Salafus Salih, they've been saying what? It is makruh. Now the funny thing about this issue of what? Bowing to greet somebody is that even the Sufi people that have not been carried away by people you were worshipping them and the likes, they also go against it. One of the Mufassirun, As-Sawi, the one who wrote some comments on Jalalayn, when he was talking about وَإِذْ قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ اسْجُدُوا لِآدَمَ, why he was commenting on that the Malaika were ordered to do sujood for Adam. He said this is not in the Sharia of Muhammad. Now Sawi is a Sufi man, Sufi man, but yet he condemned that. He said this is not allowed in the Sharia of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Nawawi in his book Al-Adhkar also said this, that it is not okay for you to be bowing to greet people. He now said وَلَا تَكْتَرَّ بِمَنْ يَفْعَلُهُ مِمَّنْ يُنْصَبُ إِلَى الْعِلْمِ. Said don't be deceived by those who are practicing it, those that are ascribed to knowledge practicing this. So many scholars, even Sheikh Adam in his book At-Tawadu fil Islam, he wrote a pamphlet which is called At-Tawadu fil Islam. He also said it is haram. He has a bigger book that he called Al-Islam wa Taqalid Jahiliyyah. He also said what? It is haram in that book. Not to talk of what other Mufassirun and Qurtubi, Ibn Kathir and many others what they said about it. Now, the Messenger of Allah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he sent some people to Abyssinia, and they got there, they didn't do ruku for them, for the ruler. And one of the mushrikun of Mecca who went there was trying to use that as evidence against them. This is in Musnad of Imam Ahmad. The representative, so to say, or the leader of the Muslims then that went there, when the king asked him, why didn't you prostrate? He said that Amarana Rasulullah Allah nasjuda li ahadin. He asks us not to prostrate or bow for anybody. So this is in what? In Musnad of Imam Ahmad. Likewise, there are some other ahadith that point to this, like the hadith in Trimidi, the hadith of Anas, that a man yalqa akhahu or sadiqahu, meets his brother in Islam or his friend, and hani lahu, should he bow for him? Rasulullah said, La. Afayatazumu yuqabbilu, can he hug him and kiss him? He said, Na min shah. Yes, I can do this. So there are some other ahadith. And some people, they are confused. They said, no, it is sujood that is being talked about, not in hina. The word sujood in the Arabic language means in hina, means bowing and what? Prostrating. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Udkhulu al-baba sujjadan, Udkhulu al-baba sujjadan, enter the town sujjadan. Imam ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala said here, sujjadan yani ruk'an, that is bowing, enter the gate bowing. So not what enter the gate while you are walking with your edge. How can somebody walk with his edge? But ruk'an, bowing, entering the gate. The word sujood is often used for the non-living things. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say what? They are doing sujood. So this thing is what is clear. We understand Islam the way the pious predecessors have understood it, not trying to play with the words in order to justify the practices of some people. No, this is uncalled for. So bowing, prostration, all these are not permissible in the deen. Now, if one does it, the person is sinful. If one does it with the intention of ibadah, such a person is a mushrikun kafir. Because the one that was done by the brothers of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, this is what? Sujudu tahiyya, not sujudu ibadah. Is the prostration or the bowing of what? Tahiyya, of greeting. But this bowing of greeting that is not allowed in the Sharia of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the one who does this as a person is what? Is sinful. But if care is not taken, because some people, the way they do it today, it has become a kind of ibadah to them. Then when you I can not to bow for this big sheikh, this big this other Allah Mahiman does not bear it. This is what is moving gradually to the level of what? Shirk. It's not something that is what? That we can really call sujudu tahiyya anymore, or inhina'u tahiyya. It's going to what? Inhina'u of ibadah. So one has to be careful. Now another question has to do with zikru jama'i, the congregational adhkar. There are some adhkar that we do in congregation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let us know that the salah itself is what? Is zikr. So when you are praying, what do? You are doing what? Zikr in jama'ah. But al-aslu fil ibadat al-manu. The basis in ibadah is prohibition. It is what you have text for, you do. What you don't have text for, you don't do. So for people to come together to say, okay, we'll be chanting so and so in chorus, or we'll be doing this thing together, we'll be saying it silently, but who are us? We are connected together. This is ibadah, and it must have evidence. Does it have any evidence? No evidence. So this is what is bid'ah. This is bid'ah. So some people, they introduce things like this with different intention. Some will say, okay, we are doing it so that we can teach the people. For how long will you continue to teach the people? So it has become something that has become practice of some people. No. If you want to teach people, you teach them for a while and you stop. If they say it in chorus for a while, you stop. Everybody will be saying this. So maybe it is ajza of the Quran that you have distributed. Then we are reading together. The Prophet ﷺ and his companions do it that way. Did they distribute ajza of the Quran? Then the Prophet ﷺ sit with his companions and say, okay, Abu Bakr, you read Surah Al-Kahf, Umar, you read Surah Al-A'la, you read Surah so and so. You can't find evidence for this. وَخَيْرُ الْهَادِي هَدِي مُحَمَّدٍ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ. So there is no evidence for that. Okay, we are going to have a special sitting now. Okay, you say Subhanallah 100, you say La ilaha illa quwwata illa billah 100, you say this one so. Or let us be saying it together. And that's why what we have as the practice of the Salaf. Al-Imam al-Darimi rahimahullah ta'ala reported in his book The case of those people who gathered in the masjid in Kufa. And when Abu Musa al-Ash'ari came, he saw them. This was before Salatul Subh. He saw them, they formed circle. In each circle, there was a leader who was the one instructing them. Sabbihu miha, let's say Subhanallah 100. Kabiru miha, let's say Allahu Akbar 100. Halilu miha, say La ilaha illallah 100. When Abu Musa saw them, he said, this is strange. Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar, not strange. But this method of what? Instructing, Sabbihu miha, Kabiru miha, this is strange. He felt that what he had stayed with the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he lived with him. He never saw him doing things like this. But for him not to be too forward, so to say, so let me go and see somebody who is more learned than myself. He went to the house of Abdullah bin Mas'ud radiallahu anhu. Abdullah bin Mas'ud was preparing to come out. When he came out, he met Abu Musa al-Ash'ari. And he said, oh, Abu Musa al-Ash'ari said, there are some people in the masjid. Now, they are doing so and so, and so and so. Abdullah bin Mas'ud said, you should have told them that they should be counting the evil deeds that they've done. Maybe this will save them from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Other than this, do you have to hesitate that what they are doing is bid'ah? So when Abdullah bin Mas'ud himself got there, he saw them doing that. Said, Ya ummata Muhammadin, oh the ummah of Muhammad, ma asra'alakatakum, why are you destroying yourselves? The leader said, ma aradna illa al-khayr. We did not intend with this except good. Just as any person of innovation will defend himself. The evidence that somebody who is committing other sins apart from bid'ah will bring, an innovator will bring it. Somebody who is taking intoxicant, who is committing zina, will not say what? Ma aradna illa al-khayr. It's somebody that is doing bid'ah that will say what? Ma aradna illa al-khayr. We only intend good with this. Yes, they intend good with it. And the companion responded, Kam min muridin lil khayri la yusiba. How many a person will intend good and he will never get that good? Because if you want good, you have to follow what? The right path. He now told them that he said, these are the companions of the Prophet. There are still many around. These are the clothes of the Muslims. They are not what? They are not torn. So we did not take it to be something else. If I thought you want to learn the deen, these are the companions. Did you see them doing this? The scholars will warn us. Ihdar sigar al-bid'ah. Avoid the slightest bid'ah. The smallest bid'ah, avoid it. Because if you don't avoid it, it will be growing. Those people that started with it as car of Kabiru Miya, Sabbihu Miya, they ended up becoming Khawarij. Amr bin Salama, the one who narrated that hadith, he said what? فَرَأَيْتُ أَكْثَرَهُمْ يُطَعِنُونَنَا يَوْمَ نَهْرَوَانِ. When the case of Khawarij started, most of those people that I found in that circle, they were in the camp of the Khawarij. They were among those who are piercing us with arrows and spears. So from the bid'ah of dhikr in Jama'ah that is not allowed, they graduated to the bid'ah of what? Al-Khuruj al-Hukam. And that's why the scholars, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on them, when they see something of bid'ah, they are ash. You will be looking at it as if this small thing. But they are not looking at it as small thing. They are looking at the effect of that thing. They are looking at the effect. And that's why you don't trivialize any bid'ah. Don't trivialize any bid'ah. This is just small bid'ah. Don't trivialize. The Salaf, they won't trivialize bid'ah. Because they know it can grow and become a big musibah. So this is something that is important. Now some people will say, okay, but we have instances of people who have done something in Jama'ah, like Mashtama Qawmun fi baytin min buyutillah yatluna kitab Allah wa yatadarasunahu bainahum. People will not gather in the house of Allah reciting the Quran. They want to use that as what? Justification for dhikr in Jama'ah. So yatluna kitab Allah, okay, you take juzu, and what we are reading. What are you doing? Yatluna kitab Allah. They are reading what? The book of Allah. So this is what? Evidence of dhikr Jama'ah. But if you look at that hadith, وَيَتَدَارَسُونَهُ, they are what? Studying it. Are you studying the book of Allah? Your own intention is what? With the intention of dua. This intention is what? The intention of what? Tadarus, studying. Like a malam now gather the young ones, for instance, and he's teaching them. They will repeat after him. This is tadarus. But with intention of dua, this is what? This is bid'ah. So that hadith is not evidence at all for them. Okay, they will say, okay, what about taraknahum, we leave them, yusabbihun wa yahmadun wa. The angel said we leave them, they are doing subhanallah, alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar. Is it in that hadith that they are doing it in chorus? May be in the masjid, this one is doing subhanallah, this one is doing alhamdulillah, individually. So everybody is doing theirs. It's not that what they are doing it in connection. Everybody is in the masjid doing his own or her own. So coupled with the fact that understanding that you are getting from that hadith, did the Salaf understand it that way? If no, then your understanding of that situation is not much different from the understanding of the Khawarij of some words, of some text, relying on their own understanding of some text, and they are practicing what they are practicing. So many evidences are available from the practice of the Salafun. And let's agree that okay, they are saying it together, making it a constant thing. Is bid'ah. And that's why Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala in his book Iqtida Sirat Mustaqim Mukhalafat Ashab al-Jahim said that if people come together and they are observing, let's say nafila, they say we'll be observing a particular nafila once every week or once every month, they have likened it to what? To Salatul Jumu'ah. They have likened it to what? Salatul Eid. Saying that every month you'll be having what? Special nafila. Where is the evidence? Messenger of Allah said this? No. So this is something that is clear. So doing dhikr in Jama'ah, apart from the ones that we have evidences, like the Salah, like Salatul Eid and things like that, that we have evidence for. So this is innovation, and scholars have not differed on this. So any person that is trying to legalize this is trying to misconstrue some of the statements of some scholars like Ibn Hajar, Nawawi, that he will say, okay, we can do dhikr in Jama'ah. But did they say you can do it on a regular basis, on a weekly basis, monthly basis, quarterly, that you can know? Even these people have not said that. So this is something that is clear. I think the last question is has to do with the TMC. What is their stand and their manhaj? Now I said don't talk about some sects, particularly if they exist in our society, by mentioning their names. Why? Because it doesn't bring much benefit to the people. Rather, what people are doing that is wrong should be said. If what they are doing that is wrong is said, people who know those sects will learn and identify them that okay, this thing that is wrong is present in so and so sect, and with that they will be able to know whether to go away from them or not. Because it is part of what looking at the maslahah of da'wah, not to mention names at times. At times it is good for you to mention names. At times it is good for you to what? Not to mention names. Messenger of Allah at times you say what? Ma balu aqwamin. Why are some people doing so and so? He was referring to some individuals. He didn't mention their names. But he knew that when he said this will correct those people. At the same time, some people want to get corrected. I will benefit from that teaching of his. So scholars will say, okay, why can't you use the uslub of Mabalu Akwamin in addressing the issue at times? But at times, mentioning name will be beneficial. Take for instance, it is something that is very, very important today to talk about the heresies of the Muslim Brotherhood. Because these people, the scholars of Sunnah, they all agree that they are upon heresies. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَقَدْ بَعَثْنَا فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ رَسُولًا أَنِ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَاجْتَنِبُوا الطَّاغُوتَ. We have raised in every ummah a messenger, أَنِ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ. What they will be asking the people to do is what? Ibadatullah. Ibadatullah, Ibadatullah, Ibadatullah. When Messenger of Allah sent Mu'adh bin Jabal to Yemen, he said, إِنَّكَ تَقْدَمُ عَلَىٰ قَوْمٍ أَهْلِ كِتَابٍ. You are going to meet some people who are people of the scripture. Messengers were sent to them, they had books. فَلْيَكُنْ أَوَّلَ مَا تَدْعُوهُمْ إِلَيْهِ عِبَادَةُ اللَّهِ. The first thing that you invite them to is Ibadatullah. Were they not doing Ibadah of Allah before? But with the passing of time, the message of Prophet Isa والسلام, had been adulterated by the evil scholars, who have turned Ibadatullah towards Ibadatul Isa. And that's what Allah says, what on the day of Qiyamah we're asking Prophet Isa والسلام, وَإِذْ قَالَ اللَّهُ عِيسَى وَإِذْ قَالَ اللَّهُ يَا عِيسَى ابْنَ مَرْيَمَ أَأَنْتَ قُلْتَ لِلنَّاسِ اتَّخِذُونِي وَأُمِّيَ إِلَهَيْنِ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ. Are you the one that asks the people to take you and your mother as what? Idols? Prophet Isa والسلام, will be responding, Subhanaka ma yakunu li an aqula ma laysa li bihaqqin. Why should I tell them that? It is unbecoming of me to tell them to what, to take me and my mothers as idols. Then he will say, in kuntu qult faqad alimta ta'lam ma fi nafsi wa la a'lam ma fi nafsika. To the verse, ma qultu lahum illa ma amartani bi an i'budu Allah rabbi wa rabbakum. I didn't tell them anything except that what? Worship Allah, Rabbi, my creator, my sustainer, the one who has control over my life, wa rabbakum, and your Lord. What is that? Ibadah. So how can you be a da'iyah and you don't busy yourself with what? Telling people Ubudullah, Ijtanibu Taghut, this is what Allah has commanded, do, this is what Allah has what forbidden, go away from it. Then you not say, okay, you want to do what? You want to do da'wah, and your concentration will be what? How the Muslims are going to have Muslim university, we are going to have a Muslim whatever, we are going to have Muslim whatever. Talking about the welfare only, welfare, majorly, welfare. You look at ways that you can make money out of people. We are going to establish something, Islamic whatever, or Zakah and Kini, so and so. The intention is what? Is to promote your program. So when you look at this, you see them, they are always concentrating on politics. And that's why they've been having problem with most authorities in the world. In Egypt, they have an experience politics. They've been participating in politics for years. So they've been what? Very bitter enemy of Mubarak till Mubarak what? Left. Now when Sisi came in, the same thing. They sponsored somebody to contest after Mubarak had been removed, a person of Mursi. When Mursi was campaigning, some people were throwing some questions to him. Are you going to implement the Sharia? He said, no, I'm not going to implement the Sharia. Huh? I'm not going to what? Implement the Sharia. What is the Sharia? The do's and don'ts of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So somebody is contesting, well, I'm not going to implement the Sharia. Now if you get there, this issue of cutting off the hand of a thief, he said, no, that is just a fake issue. It's not something, it's something of khilaf. Mas'ala khilafiyya. Something that is what clearly mentioned in the Quran, asarq wa sarq factoru idea. But because he wants to get to that place, he said what? It's fake issue. Okay, what about the Christians in Egypt and the Muslims? No, we and the Christians and the Muslims, they are the same thing. Al-Khilaf dynamic. It's only dynamic difference. When Allah says, لَقَدْ كَفَرَ الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ وَالْمَسِيحُ لَقَدْ كَفَرَ الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ ثَالِثُ ثَلَاثَةٍ. So, because he wants to get to the power, he was what? Watering down the thing. So this is what? The brotherhood in motion. The brotherhood in motion. When an authority is there, they will use Islam to campaign. Al-Islam wal-hamlu. Islam is what? The solution. But when they get here, they will say what? La nutabbiku sharia. We won't implement the sharia. Nahkum bima arada usha'ab. We are going to judge with what the people want. This statement was said by Rashid al-Ghanouchi in Tunisia. The Nahda party in Tunisia, now they are in power. They could not implement the Sharia of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So which means the difference and the war they have with what? The authority that was there before was not Islamic at all. Was something of what? Of worldly tendency. So when you go to many places, you see, and when you try to watch, you wrest power from those who are constituted authority or those who are in power. What do? They resist. They fight you with whatever they have as well. So throughout the Arab world today, the brotherhood is seen as problem by the authorities. When Mursi was elected by the people, by majority of the Egyptians, when he was elected, the Saudi government, when he learned that he wanted to borrow money from the World Bank, they said what? He gave him about 4 billion riyal. The World Bank wanted to give him $4 billion as what? Loan, with interest. But the Saudi government gave him about 4 billion riyal. Now this is politics now. But when he got there, they discovered that what? This is just a beginning. Egypt is what? Is a start. So this person is promoting this same Arab what? What do they call it? Arbaeen Arab, the Arab Spring. He was promoting it. So when the Saudi government they got to notice that this man is going to sponsor and what? And jeer the brotherhood in what? In Saudi Arabia against the authority. So that the authority of Kuwait, they were aware of this everywhere. They all what? They all sat tight. No, this man should be dealt with. This is power. This is what? Power and politics. So when CC overthrew him, what did they do? They gave him support. I'm talking about politics now. Now when you are trying to wrest power from those who are in power, they also fight you. This is what is something that is known by everybody. So they gave him support initially, but they decided, no, this man has gotten this power, but he wants to what? Topple us. So rather, we give support to the military to also what? To topple him. So and he was toppled. So this is what? The war. Now the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt, what did they do? They are what? They are also trying to to resist that of Sisi who came in later. Huh? Brotherhood, they had problem what in Saudi Arabia because the rulers they have seen that what these people are trying to topple our government. Now the ruler in Egypt has seen that what these people they want to come back again. So they are also looking for every means maybe to incite the people against the authority there now. So and the authority is also camping down on them. So this is what politics. This is politics. So everywhere. The only country that is giving them support is what? Is Qatar and Turkey. Because the ruler in Qatar has this what? Inclination of the brotherhood. Likewise, Erdogan in Turkey also has what? So and this is what is going on today now. That the Saudi government is telling the Qatari government that what? You have to dissociate yourself from the brotherhood. No, we won't dissociate ourselves from the brotherhood. Turkey, no. But most brothers don't understand this. Now, if you are asked to watch, to take a side, where are you going to? Which side are you going to back? Leave the politics now that the politicians are doing. Those who are in power, the way they, the PDP, APC, how they play their power politics here is dirty. So leave that now. Now, who is right? Is it the Saudi? The one who is which one is closer to the Sharia? Is this the Saudi's position or the Qatari's position? You as what? As somebody of Sunnah who is upon what the Prophet ﷺ told us concerning what? Which one is closer to the Sunnah? Saudi government. Leave the policies that they are doing, that they are playing, leave that. But these people that are what? That are trying to take power, does Islam encourage us to do that? No. If you are du'at, busy yourself with what? With the call to Tawheed and Sunnah. But for you to be what? To be chasing the constituted authority or the authorities, whether they are elected or they get there with power, the ahadith are against you. The ahadith are against you. Now, how can when somebody goes out and say what? They are denying us our rights, they are doing this, they are doing that. What did the Prophet say about the leaders? He said, Satajiduna ba'di atharatan, you see favoritism after I've gone. Wa umuran tunkiruna, and so many things that you will not be happy with. Said what? Fasbiru, be patient. Hatta talqawni ala al-hawj, until you meet me on it. No, we are not going to be patient. We are going to fight for our rights. No electricity, no so and so. The roads are bad. The people are hungry. You are just doing elaboration. This is the same thing Allah is talking about. There is not somebody who has ascribed himself to scholarship. You come out. No, we have to fight for the right of the people. No, the people are being maltreated. They are not giving them what? Drinkable water. They are not giving them this. They are not doing that. This is what Allah is pointing at. A whole book in Sahih Muslim, Kitabul Imara, the book of government, is addressing this particular issue. But the area the Messenger said, what? Be patient and prayerful. Is the area say, no, we are not going to take that. We are going to take to the Western what? Method of what? Of going out, demonstrating and what? If it leads to what? Carrying gun, we've carried gun and what? So they implemented that in what? In Libya, in Syria, in Yemen, in Egypt. Now, see, look at the way the people are enjoying now. The people are enjoying now. Good roads, potable water, everything is there now. The people are enjoying. So when the pious predecessors, when they talk, they know what they are saying. Al-Hasan al-Basri said what? إِنَّ الْفِتْنَةَ إِذَا أَقْبَلَتْ عَرَفَهَا كُلُّ عَلِمٍ. When fitna is coming, the learned one knows it. وَإِذَا أَدْبَرَتْ, when the fitna has happened and it has consumed and destroyed things, عَرَفَهَا كُلُّ جَاهِلٍ. Then the ignorant will know, if we have known, we wouldn't have done this. But instead of these people to watch, to learn from this, They are still plunging the people into what? Into error. They've seen the casualties and the calamities that have befallen the people from all these protests and the likes. And they didn't learn. What they are still interested in is what? Is how they are going to get there. Even if all the people of Egypt are going to be wiped away, let them be wiped away. We want power. So somebody who has understanding of the deen will never support this unless if he himself is like them. So the brotherhood are being chased by the governments in the world. The governments in the Islamic world. Why? Because they see them as people who are what? Vying with them. Huh? And the scholars are criticizing them not because they're in support of what? The injustices being perpetrated by what? But they are attacking them because they see them as people who are violating the laws and the statements of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is something that is clear. So when we say the brotherhood, this is the mother of the TMC. The TMC, they are what? They are an offshoot of the brotherhood. Very soon they will go into politics too. It's something that is gradual. They are there already. So they will go and they will invite everybody. No, we Muslims, we have to fight for our rights. They are denying us this. I listened to one of them, and he was saying that, this election, when your Jumu'ah is coming to ask him where is his voter's card. If he doesn't come with it, tell him to go home and bring it back. A leader of them, a leader. In fact, the most prominent person in them is the one who said this. Go back and bring your voter's card. For what? What has that got to do with the masjid? I want to come and observe my salah. You said that the imam should not allow him to enter the masjid to pray salah because he doesn't come with what? Voter's card. Your vote is your power. Your power is your vote. He uttered a statement in that lecture several times. So, subhanAllah, you are just endangering the life of the people. This politics of the thing that you are talking about, those who are the players, they know how they play it. So why you now plunge the people into it with the name of what you want to help Islam? That is what I'm called for. So this is what is clear. Their manhaj is not the manhaj of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. And we have learned things that makes somebody to be what? A Sunni or not a Sunni. We have what? Many things. When you see those who are what? Calling to al-Khuruj al-Hukam, or those who are calling you to vie power with the authorities, this is the way of the Khawarij, not the way of the people of Sunnah. So the people of Sunnah, they busy themselves with what? With the issue of Ibadah. They busy themselves with the issue of Ibadah. How many prophets of Allah are rulers, kings? How many of them? Very few. Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, one of the rulers, was he a president or a king? Very few. So which means being in government is not the target. The target is what? وَلَقَدْ بَعَثْنَا فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ رَسُولًا أَنِ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ. This is the target. Now if the prophet has the opportunity of becoming what? A ruler, this is what? Added advantage. If a scholar has the opportunity of becoming what? A ruler, added advantage. But for him to take what? To throw away the basis and not concentrate on something that is just an extra thing. So this is what? Khalalun fil manhaj. Khalalun fil manhaj. So when you look at most of their lectures, the brotherhood, most of their lectures, you see, they have to do with things that have to do with government. When they see people who are grave worshippers, leave that. The Muslims, they have been persecuted in so and so place. They are denying them their rights. Allah raised the Prophet ﷺ because of the issue of Tawheed. You say leave Tawheed, people have been persecuted, people have been denied their rights. Are we going to follow the Prophet or we are going to follow you? So I think this is something that is very, very clear. So Wallahu alam. Wa sallallahu. Okay, last question.
On the issue of Atahiyatullah that you mentioned, I just wanted to ask that there was one hadith that talk about when you move your fingers or wipe away the jeans or change the jeans. That's the first one. And the second one, if you are working in a company that sells drinks, and then suddenly the management, which is much higher even outside the country, decides to start selling alcohol, and you tell them that you will have to resign if you have to sell alcohol. And they say, okay, they will segment the alcohol parts, and you will not have anything to do with the alcohol parts, but you should just keep your job. And all the Muslims who said they would resign, they now say they will segment it, that you should not worry. Anybody that doesn't want to follow the alcohol parts and do that.
Well, alhamdulillah, salatu wasalam. With respect to the second question, if a company has halal wing and it has haram wing, so there is nothing wrong in working in the halal wing as long as we are sure that it is what halal. So if it is segmented, you can work there. Wallahu alam. Now, with respect to the first question, maybe you are referring to the hadith la yashaddu ala shaitan al hadith. So this is not a hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's a statement of Imam Ahmad that is something that is harder on shaitan than the iron. So that doesn't mean what one should be moving it. Though some scholars are of the opinion that what you move it, as I mentioned before. So that you move it, that hadith you harriku ayadu biha, that one is has been explained. But you harriku ashadi, that is not a statement of Imam Ahmad, not the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, from the women. Okay.
Which one is more righteous? If Allah bestow one, just one in favor, is it observing 2 rakats of Nafil or doing sajda to shukr?
Now,
and if you want to do the sajda, what do you say? Is it alhamdulillah?
Now, in a situation that one sees something of favor from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so it is advisable that one does sajda to shukr. So this is something that is advisable. As for observing nafila, this there is no, I don't know of any evidence that says one should observe nafila. For that, I don't know. But sajda to shukru, this is established, and it was practiced by the Salaf al-Salih. What Messenger of Allah would do is that whenever he was disturbed by something, he will go and observe 2 nafila. So, إذا أحزبه أمر لجأ إلى نافلة إلى ركعتين. So this is what is said. But if something happens to one of good, something good happens to one, so one does sajda to shukr. So this was practiced by the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the companions. So Allahu a'lam.
What of all the sides?
Yeah? In ruku, in sujood, we do the normal thing. Yes, normal adhkar that you do in sujood is what you do. So we don't have any evidence that says you should do something contrary to that. So we know that when you do sujood, you do what?
Somebody once mentioned that if you do sajda and you let it cover that you can also do, but the general text of this is, though some scholars they have a comment on that author, but if you do it as just a supplication or a kind of dhikr, no, Allahu a'lam. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.